I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is All the Mods 10. Now today we are going to play with one of the most broken items, or blocks, I guess you could say, mods, in the game, in my opinion, so far in my experimentation. And we're also going to be setting up some more power. But first, let's talk about this really powerful mod, right? And that mod we've technically already played with, right? It's called Pylons, and is actually what allows us to have the Harvester Pylon. Now, there are other pylons though, and one of those pylons is very, very broken, and that is the Infusion Pylon. Now, I did play around with this a little bit over on Twitch, so definitely check me out over on Twitch, twitch.tv/ChosenArchitect. Of course, I do live stream most of the week, about 3 to 4 days a week, so definitely check me out there. Give me a follow if you would. Hey, you may be wondering, Chosen, what does this mean? Like, what is the Infuser and how can I use it? Well, at this point, I have been using a jetpack for flight. Yes, it's worked, and it does have a decline and everything like that, and there are higher tiers which remove that decline. And don't get me wrong, a jetpack is still the way to go for fast travel in one direction. But there is a way that we can get full creative flight with minimal effort in this pack, and that is thanks to this block right here, the Infusion Pylon. And let me tell you, for as cheap as this block is, and as little requirements as this block takes, it's just one of the most overpowered things that I've experienced in modded in a while. And why is it overpowered, you might ask? Well, it has the ability to give you a potion effect, or any effect, basically. It's not just exclusive to potions, but any effect that has a duration that is over 60 seconds can be captured onto a potion filter card. You can see right here, minimum effect duration 60 seconds. That means whenever you drink a potion, it needs to give you at least 60 seconds worth of time on that potion to then be consumed into this potion card. Now, it will give you a certain amount of level up whenever you do this until you reach a certain point. I think it's like 3,600 points that you need to build up. And once you get to that build up, well, it just becomes infinite. Yes, you heard me right. Any effect can become infinite, and not only infinite, but permanently applied to you when the card is inserted. And that even means cross-dimensionally. So you heard me right. Broken. So now you may be wondering, what effects are going to be the best to use in here? Well, remember how I mentioned flight? Well, flight is just the starting point. Now, keep in mind, you do have to go to the end, which we had just done, to be able to get chorus fruit for the flight potion. It's not something you're going to make right off the bat, because of course you have to go to the end. And it also is going to need some fermented spider eyes and also some phantom membranes. Now, potions themselves are pretty nice, right? This gives you a potion of flying that lasts literally 30 minutes. So you're not going to need a whole lot of them for the potion infuser. But there's actually a way we can extend potion effects even longer, and not just potion effects. That's right, we can actually increase iron spells effects as well. And you may be seeing what I'm cooking up. Yes, I have the ability to increase the duration of some of the iron spells effects, and some of them are actually limited below 45 seconds. But if we have this modifier applied, we can actually extend those past that 60-second mark, allowing us to capture their effect and apply it permanently. And the way we're going to do this is through a thread, right? So this is the thread of Wixie, and this is going to be the first thread I think we actually apply to ourselves. And it increases the duration of potions by 15% each level. And when it refers to levels, it's actually referring to our Rs gear, and you can see those red tier slots are empty. Those have 3 different levels on them for the first slot, and then the second slot has 2 and 1. And the further we upgrade our gear, it will eventually have all 3 tier 3s. Now for this, I'm going to need some Mage Bloom seeds, which thankfully we ended up getting, but you can craft these very easily with Rs. I just tossed it over here, and this is going to be grown up and is going to get harvested. Now in this process, I'm also going to be crafting some other threads, and threads are really, really cool as they kind of like extend more things off of your gear and give you some passive buffs, which is another really powerful thing about using this particular gear. Like for example, the Thread of the Depths. If it's in a tier 3 slot, you basically can breathe underwater permanently, which I think is going to be really, really helpful, where you don't have to worry about you know, suffocating or anything like that underwater. And then Thread of Spell Power is always really nice because this is going to grant you even more spell damage. Something else I want to mention about extending potion duration effects, there is a way to do it within cultism, but you are going to need to summon a demon friend or a demon wife or husband, which it does have the option to do that. And they can actually extend potion effects even further, by the way. So like a base potion could be extended all the way up to 15 minutes or so, which in my opinion would only help buff and increase these effects even further, making this process even faster. Now on this potion effect, to be able to get Wixie tokens, it can be a little bit challenging. I've thankfully looted quite a few of them, but if you haven't looted them, you need to use a Dispel on a witch when it's less than half health. And whenever you do that, it will turn into a Wixie token. And the Wixie, by the way, is a way that you can automate potion brewing and also automate crafting if you were kind of going the full Rs route. So now that I have my threads crafted up, we need to use a thing called an alteration table. Very straightforward. You just place it right here and you'll see your individual slots ready to go. And it is going to go from the first slot down. So whenever we place this in, for example, the Wixie, bam, it's now in a thread slot. But keep in mind, when it goes in a thread slot and you're using threads, you can only use one of those threads, no matter what you have on all of your other gear. So you cannot put more than one of these threads in your other gear. I mean, I guess you can, but you're not going to get a stacked effect. So really only one thread of a type is allowed throughout your entire gear set. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, I'm also going to use and throw on here, might as well, thread of capacity, and each level, which this will be 3, will give us 10% per level and increase our maximum mana pool by 30%. As if we didn't have enough at this point. So now we can get to the brewing part. So I'm down in the sewer here, and remember the time wand that we spent time making? Well, now we get to actually see it shine, because by default, this is pretty slow. But if we use our time wand, now you can see where the utility comes into play. So that now makes it almost instantaneous. Like it really is instantaneous at the max tier like this. Look at that. It just happens instantly. And so what I'm able to do is get this all the way up to top tier. Notice, by the way, we're running out of power. That's something that we're going to hopefully fix today. There we go. And now we have levitation. And then the max up here is going to be chorus fruit. And it's just so good to be able to have access to this. So there's the flight of 8 minutes. But if we do redstone here, then we can go ahead and we can extend this even further and all the way up to 30 minutes of flight time. Now, the longer the actual duration, the more time gets applied to that card. So let's now take a look at the card from the pylons. And this is what we need to make, the potion filter. So I think I have most of these things. We have dye seeds, so that's not a big issue anymore. And we also have that dye. So bam, we'll make some of this. And beautiful. There we go. Okay. Oh, it looks like, yeah, we are missing green dye, but we have dye seeds. Oh man, it makes it so nice having dye seeds. Potion filter right here. So to be able to get creative flight, we just need the potion of flying. And we're going to consume this. This gives us 30 minutes, but watch, whenever I drink this, because we have that Wixie on here, we should get a 45% increase on our time duration. And you can see we have 43 minutes. And so once we have an effect applied, we just simply right click and all of that time gets consumed into the card. And we almost, with just one potion, completely filled the progress bar. That is absolutely ridiculous. And there's another one. And as soon as we've consumed this, now we have an activated flying potion filter card. And this, like I said, is just the start. As soon as I put this in here, I will have access to this potion effect indefinitely. And all I have to do now is simply double tap, and I'm now in creative flight. And you can see it flying right here, enables creative flight. And I can take out my jetpack and I can use that curio slot for something else in the future. I can now just simply fly around as I fill. So now let me get into what is actually broken, because right, flight is kind of meh in modded. Like a lot of things do give you flight and allow you to fly around, but it's at this point now where we can start to manipulate things and potentially get something that is going to be insanely broken in the future. And honestly, it's kind of broken now. And that, my friend, comes at the cost of an invisibility effect. And this will be my first little dabble into the Iron Spell mod. You know, the only real pain point to getting into Iron Spells and being able to craft your own spells is the fact that you need Crying Obsidian, which means that we need to locate some of the portals that I have left behind, and that's a great way to get the crying obsidian. Honestly, one of the best ways to get it. Now, when getting into iron spells, you are going to need quite a bit of crying obsidian just to kind of make like some of the base machines. And this is where this crying obsidian is really going to come into play, that you can find super easily inside of the end dimension, courtesy of the good old young structure here. Now to craft this, let's go ahead and make ourselves a forge and also an arcane anvil. All of these are going to be required, so you just need a inscription table, scroll forge, and an arcane anvil. Now to be able to craft the invis spell, we are going to need some paper and an emerald, and then also some legendary ink. And we're looking for the invisibility version, this one right here. And when we craft this, we get a level 5, and it only has an effect length of 30 seconds. And I'm hoping that we can increase this effect length a little bit further. And so to be able to do this, let's take it up to the next tier. We have to swap these out, and we can upgrade it even further. So this is the highest tier, which is level 6, 35-second length. But I'm hoping that we can effectively increase that more, and I don't know if the evocation spell power percentage can actually increase the duration of the infect. So by using the grimoire here, by the way, which we got from the evokers, I'm hoping that we can apply this to a spell slot here, and this will give us a higher effect duration. I could be wrong. So now we just need to take our spell book and put it into the spell book slot in our baubles, and we can hit R. I do recommend removing some keybinds from R inside of your keybind settings, so that way you can pull this up. We just want to select this. Notice, by the way, because of the evocation, it does give us increased effect length because of that percentage. So the higher the percentage we have, the longer the effect duration is going to last. And that's important. For us to get it closer to 60, we are going to need to increase this. And to also make it more practical, we're probably going to want to use a wand. This is going to help with our cooldown reduction. And just having some nice cooldown reduction is going to be super helpful. And there's actually a couple of other ways we can get some cooldown reduction, because I do want to keep my Ars gear for the most part, because we're definitely going to need to make sure that we are wearing our Wixie charm that is basically on our gear. So now the recovery does actually help us here. So if we can make some rings of recovery, and I think we have what, let's see, we have 2 ring slots, and we also have another curio slot. So we can technically have 3 of these on, but we are going to need mithril for this. And I bet we do have some mithril laying around that was potentially mined from the mining dimension. Possibly. Interesting. It doesn't look like mithril is possibly contained in this mining dimension, but I do know where it does reside, and that is in the overworld. So eventually we could mine for it in the overworld, which wouldn't be too hard with the builder. We just have to filter for it. But we did actually have some mithril, so we might want to use this little bit of mithril that we have. And by the way, we can use our blast spell, but we just need to augment it with amplify, and this allows it to be turned into a blast furnace. And there we go. This turns us into mithril scrap. Okay, perfect. So at least we can make 2 of these rings of recovery, and it's going to be well worth making these rings. 100% worth it. This is just going to speed things up so much quicker. I'm just going to take these out temporarily and replace them right here. And then also utilizing that Artificer's Cane is going to also give us the cast time reduction, and it's going to give us a little bit of cooldown reduction. So let's just go ahead and see currently where we're at on this invis spell. So whenever you have it selected, you can just use your arcane staff to cast this spell, which is kind of cool. So let's cast it and take a look, and we actually already are at least a minute of time available on this. So in reality, I'm completely invisible. In reality, we could use this already to keep us constantly set up like this. So we just have to make sure that the invisibility spell has the cooldown reduction, which it is going down right now. We can see that that's happening. Oh man, with this, and if we basically took all of our other pieces and we maybe made the other pieces of gear that increased this power, it could go up even further. Oh boy, let's go ahead and try this again, right? And you can see that our hat is actually applying an increased duration to this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna right click this, and as soon as the spell's done, I'm gonna switch over, and then I'm gonna apply the potion effect. And you can see it did go up for 60, and that means it consumed all 60 seconds and applied it to this timer. So now can you see how this is broken? By the way, true invisibility differs itself from normal invisibility by making you entirely invisible, meaning items you're holding, your actual gear, and yourself do become invisible to mobs and also reduce aggro when the effect is applied. Let's see if we can make this a little bit stronger, by the way. We should have a few of these runes available. Later on, we're going to have like nearly an infinite amount, but we do need 3 of them for right now, as I just want to make the chest, the pants, and also the boots. And because of our mob farm, we should have plenty of these arcane essences. So let's go ahead and try this out. I wonder how much longer the potion duration effect is going to last now that this gives us 10% evocation spell power. Let's try this again. So we cast it, and now it goes up to 1:30, which is just going to make this process a little bit faster. Now, there are true invis potions that we could consume, but I promise you this is going to be much, much more effective because it costs 4 invisibility potions to make 1 true potion. Yeah, it takes some time, but I promise you this is going to be well worth your time, especially later on if we go into these other dimensions. For the true invisibility, I think this is the last one. And oh, we're so close. As you can see, this is the amount of time I have been waiting, basically doing this. But I was also using this time to come up with some other cool things that we could potentially use. For example, I think the charge scroll would be fantastic to have permanently on us. And also oak skin would be another great thing. However, I do believe the max level that something can go, for example, this is a level 8, the max level can only be level 4. So we got to keep that in mind that we're only going to get the oak skin effect from level 4. However, using a level 8 oak skin scroll here will give us an effect duration that will be enough to make this faster storing to the card. But since this is the moment of truth, let's go ahead and do this. Activate it, and now we have a permanently activated true invisibility potion. Well worth my time, and I just want to show you just how powerful this actually is. If I put this in here, we should now have true invisibility. And notice, by the way, my hand is even gone. Everything is gone. Just completely gone. I don't know how much I like that. Oh, I guess my hand is not gone. It just didn't have an item on me. When I don't have an item on me, I have no hand, apparently. But thankfully, when you're holding an item, it does show up. But we shouldn't be attacked by any mob, like whatsoever. Well, except for the warden, that is. Let's do a good test. Look at these guys. They see me, but they're not going to attack me, which is interesting, right? So even though they're here, and even if I punch them, they kind of forget that I even exist. So this is where that true invisibility is going to be insanely powerful when we need it, because I don't really want to keep it constantly on, because I don't necessarily like to see myself fully invisible. But this will give us the ability to use this in other dimensions in the future. And so this is an alternative to using the charms, by the way, that you see over here. So this is an alternative to using these charm fragments, which, by the way, these charms do have durability. So yes, if we were to prevent evokers and the rest from actually seeing us, well, now we have true invisibility on top of that. Now, to get the charge scroll, which is a really cool passive effect, we can go ahead and actually just charge up a snowball. And this will allow us to strike a creeper with lightning, which is going to allow us to use bottles on a creeper to consume, well, the bottles of lightning from it. So let's get ourselves a creeper here. And notice, by the way, creepers are not even going to bother me because of that true invisibility. So great for a task like this, where we give this, yeah, a charged effect. And now I can just right click it to get myself some bottles. So let's go ahead and make this charge scroll. We just need to change this out for a bottle. And I love that you can just pick any sort of spell. There's so many to choose from, honestly, but charge gets us the max tier charge spell. And we just need to change out this one by pulling this and putting this one in. And there we go. We have this ready to go to do the exact same thing, making sure that is applied. And we go ahead and have this next to us. When we activate this, we get it for a little over a minute. And so getting charge 3 is going to be very helpful to me. It gives us a little bit of a speed boost, which is going to be nice. Also increased attack damage. And honestly, if we use any other iron spells things in the future, it'll also increase our spell power a little bit. You know what I was thinking? Spell power can be actually increased across everything if I just make the regular netherite battle mage stuff. So this is actually a better option, especially when working with the charged. to probably use, since it's going to just give it more duration. And keep in mind, to me, this all feels absolutely powerful, but apparently this has been a part of most mod packs all the way back even into All the Mods 9, and it's been in most mod packs. I've just never fully utilized it, and I'm sure you probably haven't either. This has been like a hidden gem that has just always been there, and I've never taken the time to explore it. But man, the more I get into this, the more I'm really realizing that these permanent potion effects can be really, really broken. And now the more I'm thinking about it, like, why don't I just upgrade this to just all the Modium? Like, we could make the upgraded all the Modium iron spells gear, and it is incredibly powerful. And we have a little bit of all the Modium to do this with. So yeah, shouldn't we be able to do this? Apparently it doesn't work with like the base, like netherite gear. It has to be like one of these, for example, like the evoker one. That's interesting. Okay. But I mean, that's pretty straightforward. And so I put this in here and there we go. So now we have different all the Modium gear, but I was looking, this gives us 20 spell power. So let's go ahead and equip this. And I wonder how much the duration is going to increase. 2 minutes. Okay. So yeah, things are going to be a little bit faster now. So now permanent charged 3. Yeah, it's just as crazy as you think. I don't know why though we're not seeing like the rendering of the charged on us. We should see those particle effects like swirling around us, because the charge is kind of cool, like what it actually does, but I'm not actually seeing those effects. And also the invisibility is not technically supposed to show us, but what we can see the effects of charged is plus 15 spell power, 30 attack damage, and 60% speed boost. That's pretty cool. And I'm assuming, yeah, that 60% speed is like permanent. That's really good. And with that extra 15% spell power, it's just going to make doing this other stuff, for example, like the oak skin, even easier, right? Because we can put oak skin in here, and now I can start to farm that one, which, by the way, oak skin will cap out at level 4. We'll see when we use this. This is going to be a high level oak skin, but it's going to be capped at level 4. But still, we get 128 of the points, or AKA seconds, every time we use this. Now, while I'm working on getting the oak skin set up, I'm actually going to wander around this forest because I am looking for some very specific berries. For example, this right here. And I can actually bone meal these to generate more, because this is going to be needed for our potions we're about to make. Also, is this Meadowstein? I think I said that right. And same for the Bastion fruit and the pomegranate. It's such a good name. Now, while I'm working on oak skin, let's take a look at how we can make potions even longer lasting, just to speed this whole process up, right? So we can make ourselves a potion flask. This will hold charges of potion, which is pretty nice, but what's going to make this even crazier is we can make an enchanted potion flask, which increases the duration of potions by 50%. Now, this is potion related, and so there's all 8 of these. So if we can bind all of these together, that will allow us to upgrade this to the enchanted version 50%. And I'm assuming it's 50% plus the 45% that we also get from this. Yeah, this is going to make potions last a really long time, meaning filling these potion filters incredibly fast. And the best part, fewer overall potions needed to craft. So what I'm thinking is I go ahead and I accelerate this a little bit, right? And we go ahead and we get our potions like started up. So now we have our awkward potion. The source berries, by the way, all of the berries are going to give us different effects. For example, this gives us regeneration, not normal regeneration, but it gives us mana regeneration. And it's just plus 10 on this level, but extending it even further like you typically would, this gives us an even higher buff. And so now I have mana regeneration 2 for 3 minutes, which to get the higher buff, you do take a loss, but I can combine it with this, right? And we get 1 charge. And I just kind of want to see what it's like with 1 charge. And I do have another potion filter ready to go for this. And let's see if our 3 minutes gets super amplified here. It goes up to 6 minutes. That is significant increase in seconds. Now, I was just thinking for a second, actually, you could get flight even earlier because the effect that you can get from ours can actually be learned onto here. So there is a flight thing you can make. You can make a tablet of flight. It does require some source, but you could definitely just learn the effect onto a card that will constantly be regenerated with some source. And if you have a mob farm, yeah, getting the flight, it could be even faster because it would just apply that effect nonstop. Now, I'm going to be spending some time making some potions, right? So I just made the regeneration, so we now have permanent mana regeneration 2 on us, but there's also a spell damage potion. Pretty straightforward in what it takes to make these. It just requires Mage Bloom. But then we have Potion of Recovery and also Potion of Shielding. Both of these are insanely powerful. Potion of Recovery is like advanced regeneration, even better than Regeneration 2. And yes, this thing is just bonkers. And then Shielding, it is going to overall just protect us. So I think this is the point where I go, yes, I'm feeling really powerful at the moment. Just from this one pylon. Remember, all of these effects can be removed and added and all of that stuff, right? So Oak Skin is now finished. And I'm at the point where I think this is getting pretty out of hand. Something else I can also do, give myself permanent night vision, right? Because I have this night vision spell, right? And it's only giving me this level of night vision. And notice there's particle effects and stuff. I can just go ahead and use extend time on this, and it will extend time night vision, giving us permanent night vision really easy because we can just apply it and then just immediately absorb it. That's so good. So here it is. This is all of the active spells: Recovery 2, Spell Damage, we have Charge 2, Regeneration, Shielding, Flight, Oak Skin, and whenever we want it, True Invisibility. Now that combined with some way to auto-eat, for example, an auto-feeding upgrade with some kind of food in here, really gets this up and running, right? So all I have to do is now head outside, and it is nice and dark. I don't have the invis on, which, by the way, the invis would just prevent me from being seen. But I kind of want to show you what the regeneration actually looks like. So here, for example, is a mob that can deal pretty good damage. Look at our regeneration that is applied. It is, in the shielding and everything combined, is pretty high on this scale here. Like, hey, focus on me. Focus on me here. Like, I don't want the creepers to blow up this area, but still, I'm just trying to demonstrate, like, how actually powerful the shielding and everything is. We're taking little damage, but we should almost instantly regenerate our health whenever we drop below a full heart. Yeah, pretty powerful. And so we have all of these effects, and I just wanted to make it very clear that this also continues cross-dimensionally so long as it's chunk loaded inside of the original dimension. This is just so good. And this is why I really wanted to show off this Infusion Pylon and really show the capabilities of said Fusion Pylon, because man, I've really just put off exploring this mod for so long, and man, I really regret it at this point, because this Infusion Pylon is truly the pinnacle of what I would consider to be very, very powerful. And so if you enjoy watching videos about learning how to become very, very powerful in mod packs, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and also give this video, guys, a huge thumbs up. And with that, it's now time to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks is going to go out to none other than Wolfman. Thank you so much for your amazing support and choosing to support me over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and honestly supporting in one of the best ways possible. Thank you all, I appreciate it, and I hope to see you in the next episode, where we're going to be diving into a little bit more power, I do believe, and also some other cool stuff. So I'll see you in the next one. As always, thanks for watching.